Hello everybody, welcome to Market Masterclass, and we're talking about the economy of Cuba today, which has gone through some pretty interesting varied history in the recent decades, and currently it's looking fairly healthy. The economy is turning over in 2015. The growth is 4.7%, unemployment is less than 3%, the poverty line less than 1.5%, but it's been through a torrid history when it was basically linked in with Big Brother, the Soviet Union, and it's of course a government regime with Fidel Castro, and the economy was in those years very dependent on sugar, and sugar, then the price collapsed and the sugar and the economy fell apart basically. They have had some other exports which are nickel, tobacco, shellfish, citrus and coffee, and they had a very strong relationship with a company in the Netherlands who the owner was a very confidant of Fidel Castro, and they were the biggest export. They took 24% of all Cuban exports. Canada was second on that list. USA zero, of course, because they had that rejection of Cuba when Fidel Castro closed U.S. assets and took 25% of the productive land was owned by American companies. That was all taken back, and $9 billion in cash assets was taken back or taken by Fidel Castro. So the U.S. of course closed the door on Cuba. Then there came a period when tourism became extremely popular, when the sugar price had fallen apart and tourism became extremely important, and they developed a very strange era where it became sort of a currency apartheid, where the local people who were living and earning off the local peso, whereas the people in the tourism industry were working foreign currencies, and the US dollar was the second currency, and they were earning very big money, so much so that even doctors and scientists and engineers were taking up jobs working in restaurants and even as taxi drivers, because that was the place to make the big bucks. So, however, the population has been fairly well looked after, because you've had free education, free healthcare, free food subsidies, low-cost housing and transportation. So on that level, the communist side, if you like, of the structure, things have, and in terms of the Human Development Index, it's fairly high. In terms of the overall population, which by the way is 11.4 million, they have been doing fairly well in recent times. Currently they're looking much healthier now that the US has opened the door again and tourism is building up again, so things are looking very healthy for the economy in Cuba. And now that they've allowed cooperatives and they've allowed self-employment, there was one period where 400,000 people applied to be entrepreneurs, and now the government employs about 70% and private enterprise employs about 30%. So there's a bit more of a balance there, and Cuba looks as though it's got a bright future. So the best of luck to Cuba into the future, and I hope you found that interesting and useful. Bye for now.